I made a previous video discussing the different forms of eccentric training. So if you want a deeper dive into these forms of eccentric training, go ahead and check that out. In this video, I'm going to talk specifically about slow eccentrics in comparison to fast eccentrics. With slow eccentrics, you're overloading the eccentric with time. So you're lowering the weight for a prolonged period of time. Then with fast eccentrics, you're overloading the eccentric with speed or with momentum. Fast eccentrics are more specific and more intense. They're more specific to sport because sports that involve a lot of space, like football, rugby, soccer, involve high-speed eccentric actions. This is also where injuries occur in high-speed deceleration moments. And they're more intense because eccentric force increases with speed. The force velocity curve for an eccentric contraction is opposite for that of a concentric contraction, as force increases with speed. Slow eccentric training has shown to be inferior to fast eccentric training in terms of power and speed adaptations, and it's shown to show no difference in strength adaptations compared to fast eccentric training and just normal tempo training or normal resistance training, which makes sense because in order to lower the weight for a prolonged period of time, you need to take some of the load off the bar, so you can't use as much weight, so therefore less force production. And then intentionally moving slow is not conducive for moving fast, which from a common sense perspective just makes sense. However, there are some benefits to slow eccentric training, particularly in the long term. When lowering a weight for a prolonged period of time, you're exposing your tissues to that eccentric contraction for longer. So there's higher tension per motor unit, which can lead to some downregulation of the inhibitory pathways of the Golgi tendon organs, which shut down force production when they experience too much tension. So if we can downregulate these inhibitory mechanisms, it allows for higher motor unit recruitment, higher force production, higher speed of force production. In addition to that, the brain processes each of the contractions differently. So neurally, there's a different process going on between concentric, eccentric, and isometric contractions. So exposing the tissues, exposing the body to longer periods of eccentric contractions can improve the efficiency of that contraction, which can then show up down the road in more specific high-speed eccentric contractions.